Okay, you guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jeneth Blackert,
And I'm Leonka Reina.
and this is the How to Hustle Morning Show. Today, we have a very special guest, one of my personal favorites, Megan Silito, who is going to take us for a ride into frequency avatars and really helping us overcome our obstacles to awaken our superpowers.
So that sounds super fun.
It's going to be super
I
fun,
know. You're
man.
telling me about her thing. Well, we can get into it in
Yeah.
just a second. But today we have some Mystic Space weather news.
Woohoo.
Today is February the 6th. And for today's Mystic Space weather news, there is that sunspot that had converged with other sunspots, but it is leaving our Earth directed, I guess, way. And then but it did erupt, and it erupted today, producing an M-class solar flare. And this adds to an impressive tally of more than 20 M-class solar flares this week. It also flared a large CME into space, which will be, when they look at it, not Earth directed, so it will miss us, and it's sailing high above our planet. It says the conclusion is preliminary, however, so we might get a little bit of residue from that. One of the things that this is coming from spaceweather.com. One of the things that they are listing here, which I thought was really interesting, is it says unprecedented Starlink reentries. It says what goes up must come down. What could be a problem when you're launching thousands of satellites? Since 2018, SpaceX has placed more than 7,000 Starlink satellites into Earth's orbit, and now they're starting to come down. It says in January alone, more than 120 Starlinks deorbited and created a shower of fireballs. Now, there are a lot of people online that are saying this isn't SpaceX, this is a cover up. But I do believe that what does go up must come down. So
In general, if there's gravity involved.
yeah. So basically, it also says the sustained rate of daily reentries is unprecedented, says Jonathan McDowell, an astronomer from the Harvard Center for Astrophysics who tracks satellites. They are reentering and incinerating about 4 or 5 Starlinks a day. Wow, right? And then it says planners have long known that this would happen. First generation Gen 1 Starlinks are being retired to make way for newer ones, and more than 500 to 4,700 Gen 1 Starlinks have now re-entered, says McDowell. When the Starlinks re-enter, they disintegrate before hitting the ground, adding metallic vapors to the atmosphere. This is the other thing that I think that was pretty interesting. They don't really know what it does to the Earth's atmosphere, and they go on to talk about it's kind of like a big Earth's atmosphere experiment, because we haven't had that before, and it is new technology that we put into the beyond the Earth's atmosphere that is now coming back to disintegrate within our Earth's atmosphere. So it definitely could be shaking up some stuff too. So that might be something to keep an eye on. And then also, whenever you see some of this drone talk or Dior bags talk, a lot of people are videoing some of the stuff that is coming back into the Earth's atmosphere and say, what is that? Now, don't get me wrong, I have seen some of these videos, and that looks very much like a orb that I had recorded back, like I think about 2 or 3 years ago. I remember being with Verizon outside, and I was like, I recorded this thing, and I was like, what is that? And it looks just like that. And it is something that the seers in my channeling had said what would happen. So there's more to come on that. It is very much benevolent. There is a lot of love, but just know that according to spaceweather.com, some of these incidences could be these satellites re-entering Earth's atmosphere. Now, I have two fun things.
Now, what does that have to do with us?
That right there, well, if the Earth's atmosphere is changing,
Yeah.
well, then that means that we're getting a lot more charged particles in our that is flooding Earth. And so what really don't want to happen is that the magnetosphere, it keeps us protected from the sun's solar rays,
Okay,
right?
right.
So if we don't have a good atmosphere, or if we don't have a good magnetosphere, then and we start throwing that off, just like we started throwing off like the earth, like the ocean, right? Like if we start throwing that off outside of its natural occurrences, then what we do is we set other things in precedented. And so what happens is that you get more of this like charged charged particles from the
Uh-huh.
sun. It could burn us.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Like, I mean, if you heard of
Yeah.
those, remember back in the day, we used to be like,
Like
don't spray your hairspray because you're gonna put a
a
hole
hole in the ozone. Yeah.
It's kind of the same kind of thing.
Okay.
And then, but anyway. Okay, so the fun two things that I had to share.
And yet Leonka still sprays hairspray.
I do. I was like, I got my grandma. I do. I use Tresemme, the old school one, because it is hot and humid here in Texas. And I roll my hair, y'all, and I go, shh. My grandma put me onto it. Anyway, and I still use it.
Okay.
So according to Sparks of Divine Light and Instagram Alchemy, she says 2025 energy, no more Jupiter retrograde. 2025 has no more Jupiter retrograde. This indicates a year of full grown growth, abundance, wealth, and miracles, bringing a significant impact to all signs related to their growth, healing, and prosperity, ending generational cycles, overall miracles, DNA upgrades, relief. This is, y'all, a fruitful year. Woohoo! So I just thought I wanted to put that out there because Jenith always says I bring the doom and gloom sometimes.
But she's done better this year.
It's not me, it's the sun. Anyway, that's what I got for today's
Mystic Space Weather. And you guys, I'm going to start the morning brew as our second segment. And really all I have for a morning brew is go on Netflix and watch a new movie with Tom Hanks. It's called Here. And it really brings you right into time and place.
Oh.
And it makes you really honor life a little bit more. So I thought I would bring that into the conversation.
You said a really good statement. You said, have you ever had those movies that make you feel like you're still kind of in the movie?
Yeah.
You said,
yeah, well, that's how I felt when I got out. It was like it's just a real present moment. It made you kind of go on the timeline of my kitchen or my kitchen table. You know, what happened when my son was 8 and wrote on the kitchen table.
Don't be cry. That in and of itself makes me feel some type of way.
I know, but yes, it's a beautiful movie, really well done. I tried to put it in the background while I was doing other things, and probably within about 20 minutes, I was like, the hell is going on in this show? And it just trapped me, and I was stuck watching it.
Wow, that's cool.
I love when movies do that.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had that experience where I felt like I was with the movie. So that'll be exciting. Shara says it's very good. She watched it on Monday.
Oh, great.
Night.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
So I feel like it just adds to who we are being as a true embodied being here on planet Earth. So
oh gosh, those are all big words.
I know, isn't it? It's great.
Well, the movie that kept coming up for me was My Old Ass. And I know we talked about it in the lounge and the Mystique Society, but one of the things I was doing and I was channeling and journaling the other night, and it was really coming again, that message of when we go back to heal our younger selves, that's not just a practice, like we're literally working with our younger selves. And Joe Dispenza talks about this. You know, he had premonitions, or not premonitions, but he had like a feeling that his
insights into
and was able to peer onto his self, and then he knew his younger self knew he was there, right? So it's a really beautiful way in which, and I'm just hearing it everywhere, that we need to work with our younger selves. So just know that you're really working with that and nurturing it. So cool.
Have you ever had the feeling that you're being watched, and could that watch be from your future self?
Yeah, I did last night when I thought about this a lot. And I was laughing about how that the chick on the movie, like she had to take on she had a trip, like I guess it was an ayahuasca trip. And then she was like, you don't know how much weed I had to smoke to get here to be with her younger self on like a quick mission. It was so cute though.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Yeah. Anyway, how is everybody doing? And we're excited to get talking to Megan today.
Yeah, it's 11:11 here Central Time, so let's get started.
Let's do it.
Megan Silito is a dear friend. I will bring her up in just a second. She has over 30 years experience. She's started with rapid eye technique. She has a certification in hypnosis. She is just quite profound, especially when it comes to creating the life that you want to lead. We a lot of talk about manifestation. She has these tricks and these, creative, navigative ways to help you really truly get into the frequency that creates. And while you're trying to get into the frequency to create, she also helps you overcome all those obstacles that keep you from creating the crappy doubt stuff, I'm not good enough stuff, and all those obstacles. And she has a very unique way in sharing it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her up, and you are going to fall in love with her and this conversation. I'm most certain. Hey, Megan, welcome.
Thanks, guys. I'm
Oh, we
so
can't
happy
hear
to
you
be.
though,
You can't hear me.
but it does look like you're unmuted.
I know
It
she's got a
does.
really beautiful mic and setup and everything, so
Yeah.
we'll get her
It's a
going.
very
Don't worry.
ocean view.
Mhm.
Let's go swim with some
Let's see.
dolphins.
She
Oh,
I
wait.
can hear. Okay,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
everybody
Well,
else can hear.
Can you
hold
guys
on.
hear?
Maybe we don't have
Hello? Hello?
Mic set up properly.
yeah, the channel.
Okay, let me.
Too easy. We can
Do
just
you
flip
want me
over.
just to flip over and
Yeah.
unmic?
Yeah.
We're unmiking.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Let me turn up my volume though.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't work today. It has been.
I know.
Yeah.
Or we think it is because we had two people that didn't get to come to the show. So we did impromptu.
The last two shows been a little impromptu.
Fun though. They've been really fun and insightful shows, and I guess everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah, we trust that. All right. So Megan, we were on a conversation and I said, what new stuff do you have in store for the world this year? And you just like lit up my heart when you were talking about taking these journeys, these quests, these avatar-like quests. And I thought, wow, we got to talk about this. But I know it's quite a bit deeper than how you told me about it for 2 minutes. So why don't you start a little from the beginning? Tell the audience a little bit about what you do and how you work with people. I mean, you have years and years of certifications. I was looking at everything. I was like, wow, I didn't even know she was certified in hypnosis and all these other things. And so why don't you just take them back and how this quest via Joseph Campbell kind of came through you and how you see it really playing out. It's just kind of freaking awesome.
Well, I think that for me, like one of my sort of deep work has to do with sensitives, neurodivergents, people who are more energetic. Some people might call them star seeds, that have gone through a lot of, and most of us have, because we've come to this planet to really upgrade it. And so we've come in to transmute stuff. So a lot of us chose really crappy family situations because we came to like transmute some stuff to raise the frequency, to raise the vibration. And but I would say most of the personal growth and development out there is really geared towards more of a muggle approach, like sort of like A plus B equals C. You have to work really hard and you got to do this and you just do it. And that kind of energy, which doesn't work for somebody who's energetic, because our main thing is following energy. Our main thing, like even things like what people out there call procrastination, are oftentimes for an energetic going, it's not time, And so we tend to have gotten a lot of programming about the proper way to do things, and that actually doesn't work for us. And so my original training, as you said, was in Rapid Eye, which is I learned about the brain. I learned about trauma, like all the stuff that's coming out in neurobiology right now. I learned 30 years ago in Rapid Eye training from a very visionary woman who created that modality. And then I realized that if people didn't understand who they were or what their gifts were, it
Mhm.
didn't matter how much trauma work they did, they'd go create more because they didn't have a new direction to go with that freed up energy. And so my work really became working with people who have the new blueprints for humanity, the people who are here to change humanity. But the way they work is really different and really unique. And so um, I think my gift really, and Jen, you've been in a live event with me, is play. Like I'm like doodly doodly do while I'm doing really deep work with people. And because at the end of the day, we can sit and meditate and do the energy work and all the things. But until we risk, we don't really activate our true power, our true potential. Until we go out and go, I'm doing it. I'm saying my thing. I'm putting out a podcast. I'm whatever. That's when all of the challenges that come up there are actually designed to activate power. Like we think, oh, if there's a challenge, that means I'm going in the wrong direction. But actually, it's the opposite. There's a transmutative power in every challenge. And that transmutative power is lighting up our inner our inner realms. It's activating us, right? But the problem is that our brains are designed to avoid risk like the plague. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we're 3 times more likely to avoid a risk that might look painful than go toward pleasure. And so I really became a master at tricking people, right? And like and helping people creating safe environments to be able to take those risks, to be able to reach a little further, to be able to say the thing they haven't been able to say. And so the Quest program is a gamification to help create a safe environment, to help people take bigger risks, and to be able to frame what's happening or the challenges or the naysayers, to help frame it in a different way. And if you think about it, it's like in every sort of hero's journey, right? It's like thinking about The Hobbit or Star Wars or whatever. It's like you, the jewel is always guarded by the dragon,
Yep.
right? And what's
Yeah.
the dragon? The dragon is fear. The dragon is doubt. The dragon is your neighbor going, "That's stupid," right? Like
Judgment. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the dragon. And it's like, look, like the dragon isn't there to scare you away. It's there to develop you so that you can be the person that grabs the gold, that grabs the diamond, that actually can be a steward of that diamond. Is a developmental process. And I think a lot of people see it as like, okay, I have to overcome this challenge and push through. And if you're that kind of person, like a AA personality, and your coach is a sergeant, then maybe that works for you. But like if you're an energetic, you have to find other ways to enter those caves. You have to find other ways to face those dragons. And I think because we have had a lot of trauma, it's really important to frame those challenges in a way that's helpful and positive so that we feel excited to go face the dragon.
I love that. Well, yeah, let's kind of give a real world example.
I was
Like
just gonna say that.
you were, okay. Like, what if procrastination is the dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about, how we face this if I've got to make these phone calls, but,
Mm-hmm.
and we have this whole energy of like, meh, you know, when we face that, what's really going on there from an energetic standpoint? Can we start there?
Well, I'm going to go back a little bit
Okay.
because a lot of times the dragon feels bigger than us when we haven't really chosen the path. And
Mm.
so, like in the Quest program, there's this
Okay.
process of going like, I'm in, no matter what, no matter well, come what may, I'm
So
in, right?
choice, right? Like
Yes,
really
choice.
saying, I'm deciding, I'm choosing, I'm ready to step in, even though I'm terrified.
Right. Close
Right.
the back doors.
Yeah.
I'm going on the journey. And if you think about the hero's quest, right? Like once Frodo left the squire or whatever, like he's off. Like there's no turning back. And it kind of, if you've given yourself a lot of back doors, like, well, if this gets too hard, I'm out.
Yeah, and
then
say,
then
maybe
that's
in the back door, because sometimes people may not know what that
Oh, that's a
is.
good one too.
Yeah, and you're right, like that, like if this gets too hard, I'm out. That's a good one. Or what I did for a long time was played the 1 foot in, 1 foot out of corporate while still trying to run a business, and and I wasn't really doing good at either, right?
Dude, I just did that last week, didn't I? Where you like hung me on the wall to
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because it keeps us safe. If I don't play full out, then I can't let myself down.
Mhm.
Wow. I know that that wasn't that profound, but it kind of hit me in a very profound way, right? Because if you're starting something new and you don't trust it and you're not all in to go for it, but you're doing the steps like you're all in,
Yeah,
you always have that back door open.
yeah,
Yeah. And the
Wow,
way that I would
that's
say it
great.
is that like an airplane when it takes off, the lift has to outpower the drag. Lift
yeah,
has to outpower the drag. And if you got
yeah,
too many back doors, i.e., if this is too hard, I'm out, or oh, I'm going to keep 1 foot in the door of my corporate job. What that does is it creates a literally a hole where the energy can leak out. It's
yeah,
actually not safer. We think it's safer. That's the one thing I wanted to say. To me, having 1 foot in and 1 foot out is like driving down the freeway with a leg hanging out. It's the most
Yeah,
dangerous position of all. And
because you're
so,
you're
go
setting
ahead.
yourself up to be hurt.
no, we're not.
Yes.
It's not.
Yes. 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 And then you can say, oh, yeah, it was too hard or whatever. Then you
Yeah,
have some
then you
really
make the
good.
excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really what you did was just create exactly what,
What you had
yeah,
in the back of your head
yeah,
anyway.
yep,
It's
Mhm.
probably not going to work, so I don't want to put everything, all my all my balls
eggs
in
in
the
one basket.
basket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I think, back to your conversation about procrastination, if you get all in, there's way less drag. There's way less moments of that. But when it does come, because if that's your thing, it probably will, right?
Yeah.
Is that you just have to ask one of the questions that I ask a lot because I can't even tell you how many times I judged myself for procrastination and it literally wasn't time. If I had tried to pull it off at that time, it would never have worked for a lot of reasons, right? And so I'll ask, is this time or is there something I need to be aware of here? Right.
Mm.
And so I'll ask those questions instead of I'm procrastinating again. Because when you throw judgment on top of it, you literally cannot get the awareness. You can't get the energetic whisper, so to speak, Janice. Is you can't hear the whispers when you're judging. And so it's really important to let go. As I said, we've been sort of conditioned in a linear world. It says, okay, well, you've got these 5 actions on your chart today. You better do them. And if not, you're a procrastinator. And an energetic, they don't work that way. It's like we might have a couple things. Yeah, I want to go in this direction today, but we want to ask. We want to be in flow. We want to be with the energy. And so I think that a lot of us have made up dragons that actually aren't real because we've been sort of conditioned that way. And so I think what's really important is to sort of make the distinction between real dragons and fake ones, right? It's like, oh, that was just an AI dragon. We can just go delete, like that's not real, right? But
And benevolent dragons too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
mm,
yeah. I really got
Right.
that, right?
And
yes.
in a way, maybe they all are benevolent,
Well, she
but
mentioned that a little bit too.
yeah,
She
you
was
did.
like, wanting to work. They really,
So they're
want to
here to
work
work
with
with
us.
us.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
I was all scary. I didn't want to go up to it.
Right. They're
I
too
don't
scared
feel
to
that
approach
pain.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an athlete and I've competed, at the collegiate level and then, just mild competition since. But one of the things that I always love is coming up in tennis in particular. I love coming up against somebody who's better than me because that is actually helping me be better. Like, I actually don't really like playing against somebody who's not as good as me because I don't learn anything. And so everybody thinks like, they want easy, but you actually don't, you can't actually become the person you're meant to be, because any desire that you have is not about the desire. It's about who you have to be to actually achieve the desire. The growth that comes from going after the desire. The universe knows what it's doing when it plants a desire in your heart. Because it's like, this is like, it's time to grow, is what it's saying. You don't want an easy ride. You want like good competition. You want my mentor Gay Hendricks calls it the worthy adversary. And that's the wolf that comes on the path and goes, rah. And then you get to play with becoming the person who easily handles whatever is on the path. You have to become the person who has that level of capability and confidence, but you got to face a few dragons to get that. You kind of have to earn that confidence.
Mm-hmm. Well, I really feel you don't get confidence unless you actually give it a go, right? And so you get some sort of feedback, and then you have a little bit of confidence, and then you keep going, and you got a little bit more, and things get a little bit easier. It's like this comfort zone. It's like it used to be this big wall with the big dragon, and now the comfort zone then becomes like this cute little dragon that you're like, all right, let's just do the steps forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's good.
I mean, starting a project like this came with a lot of discomfort.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? And and then the whole like, who do you think you are to be showing up that way? And I was like, I finally had to be like, I'm the Yaka, goddammit. Sorry, Lord. But like, gosh dang it. Now I sound like Royson's uncle. But the truth is that like finally I had to be like, no, knock this off, girlfriend. It's not serving you. And
Yeah.
I am worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden when I did that, all the words came, right? And my confidence really started to show up. But there are times where I felt like in many different places, I felt the fraud. Right. Even working in corporate, really young, and had gotten hired at a really young age and was going up against some of these folks. And I felt like they were just going to run me off. And I finally had to be like, no, I belong here.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's true even in a situation where you're around family and you're right, because you will back down and become not your greatness because you're trying to fit in with them too. So I think this creation goes in all kinds of ways, right? And Megan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost like a lot of this comes to that root unworthiness crap that most of this reality is going through. They're like, we feel like we're not good enough.
And I actually think that also is one of the illusionary dragons that we have to face.
Yes.
I think that's actually part of it. It's not wrong that we have that. It actually, like, if I think about it, if I didn't have the insecurities that I did, I wouldn't have followed this path.
Wow.
I wouldn't have sought to become conscious.
Right.
It's like it actually it's all for us. Even that. If we're willing to enter the cave and go, I see you. I'm not backing down, and that's how we win that space of I'm okay. I'm worthy to be here. It's not through like trying to convince yourself. It's through the actions that you take that's like, okay, well, I didn't die. Maybe I could take the next one now. That's where that transmutative component comes in, is when you choose anyway, when you step anyway.
We had a question on the feed that's like, how do you know between a real dragon and a fake dragon? And I thought that was kind of good, because there are times when you do get that inkling that you're pushing and you're supposed to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really just slowing down and breathing and asking some better questions, because I believe that so much of dysregulation and fear and toxic energy comes from this speeded up place of, I have to outwork this, I have to outperform this, I have to outpush this. And the message that we're sending is, I'm not enough. I have to work really hard. Um, and if I'm striving that hard, it's actually corroborating a belief that I'm probably not enough and I have to try harder than other people. So it's kind of twisty loo-hoo in that. And
Mm.
I think that that way of living creates a lot of perceived like problems and dragons and fear because we're living in a hopped up fear-based state. So when you actually just breathe. Like I know, Jen, you do yoga, like I do qigong. And the breath work that's come out in the last few years is freaking incredible because you can actually change your brain chemistry on a dime. And so that's the first thing that I have my clients do is I have them actually shift out of the fear through different breathing techniques or movement so that the fear transmutes so that they can actually hear their awareness. What's actually true? Oh, it is telling me not today. It's not time for that. Or it's actually there's actually like something that says go, right? And maybe that fear is some old energy that you're transmuting. But when you slow it down and go, okay, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna be really present because
Mhm.
the only place that is real at all is the present moment.
Yeah,
Wow. Well,
well said.
yeah. And that also kind of goes to the high vigilance state,
Yeah.
right? When your brain waves are like on high beta and going crazy, that would mean no, I can't discern between
Hmm.
what I really could do to create my life. Yesterday, something came up that brings me to ask this question. It's the difference between people that just believe life happens to them
Mm.
versus us truly creating each moment in this life, even the quote bad stuff that happens to us in our bodies. Uh, how what's your response to that? And how do you get people to like really grasp this idea of, wow, I'm creating each moment and this is so fun and I'm just in love with this because I get to just choose from this menu.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
Yes.
say something
sure.
right before you answer that. One of the things that you had said early on was we probably on this call are definitely all the types that would be seeking and so a little more definitely what is the word I'm like we're definitely woo, right? So tends to be that we would choose parents, and you said this, so like we choose tends to be that we choose parents that maybe have like a harder family life, right? Like these challenges that we chose to come in with.
Mm.
So are those, and I wanted to maybe to, when you were answering Janet's question, are those also those challenges that we are choosing as well to grow
Well,
from?
I actually like I think after 30 years of being in this world, I've seen so many philosophies come and go.
Okay.
Right. And I've seen so many, this is the way and this is how it works. And then somebody's teaching the exact opposite. It seems to work for them and their people, right? And I think that what I know so far, because who knows, like I could have an up level and know something different tomorrow. But what I know so far is that we are in a collaborative dance with the universe.
Yes.
It's not just me creating it. It's happening to me. It's that I'm in a dance with consciousness itself. I'm co-creating with the universe. And
Ah,
so from that place, I have this I have trillions of molecules at my back, right? Whether you want to call that angels, whatever you want to call that, we're not alone. And we're not alone doing it. And I think that, in my life, I've had different phases where I've sort of surrendered and said, okay, what wants to come through me?
mm-hmm.
But even in that, I'm working with the universe. I'm saying, I'm in. Show me what you got,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so,
But
and I don't think we're just creating it by ourselves. And so, but I do know that I have never once seen claiming victim grow somebody. Like
yes.
being at the effect of is a really tough game because if you Einstein said that the most important choice that anybody can make is that they live in a friendly universe. And he said that it was the one principle he could prove above all others. He could never really prove the theory of relativity. It stayed a theory. He said, I can prove without a shadow of a doubt that we live in a friendly universe. But if you fundamentally choose that you don't live in a friendly universe, then everything that comes is against you, kind of. You're fighting against something. If you understand essentially that you live in a friendly universe, then everything is for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I
you can work with that, right?
Yeah. It's funny, I have this kind of leg thing going on, and I had just told my husband last night, it's kind of like when I sit with this, I will get really present and that there is ease, right? And then when I'm walking and something just weird happens with it, and I call it gimping, I will fight it and I fight my body until I get to take a moment and come back in and get quiet with it, right? And it makes me realize that, wow, when I'm easeful, I have ease with this. And when I am fighting, I'm fighting with almost everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. You even
Yeah,
gave it a personality, so
I
you're totally
know.
gonna own it.
No.
Gimpy, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But
Well,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I think that one of the makes me want to lead to ask the question, people who have things going on in their bodies that they're, quote, dealing with or fighting, like how might Quest support the transitions and the growth within that?
mm-hmm.
Mm.
Well, again, on a quest, and I think actually that the I've created this sort of 30-day journey to sort of um, magnify a bigger process that's happening with all of us. We have been, each one of us have been on a quest our entire lives to grow, to become, there's themes in all of our lives that are unique to us, that are part of that hero's journey. We're all on the hero's journey. I'm just taking it for 30 days and I'm magnifying it so you can see the different components of it so that you can play the game of life with a lot more joy and ease. And so for me, one of the things that I'm really a big fan of, and it's like you could go with this in two different directions, but somebody in the chat spoke to being tired. I think it was,
yeah.
Yeah, Valentina.
Mhm.
yeah, and being tired of fighting, right? And I think in that case, just let go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just something in you is saying, there's another way. This is not the way. When something doesn't feel good, it's not the way. Like the we're playing a big hot cold game in the universe, right? And so when things feel good, it means go in that direction. When things feel crappy, don't go in that direction. So one of the things that I think is really important sometimes is to just go, yeah, I'm going to let go. I'm
Mhm.
not going to give a crap for a while. I'm going to,
Yeah.
because there's something that slows you down in that. Because if
Yeah.
you're fighting, you're pushing against something, right?
Yep.
So
Use that energy.
some part of us is asking us to let go for a minute, right? Now, I also have clients that they're little warriors. They can't stop fighting and they know they need to. And in that scenario, I would have them exaggerate the fight. I'd have them make it so big. I really play with people to go really big with it so they can actually get the information they need to get from that.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, cool. Right.
The
I've
awareness.
seen
And
you do
so,
some of those play scenarios in your live event.
mhm,
So I know what that's like. But yeah, I can see that. And so I would actually do it in also, what is it that I am so in love with this, right? Just like I love that I am doing this to myself. I love that I'm fighting myself. I love that I'm angry about this. I love it so much, until finally it gets to the point that it's like, ugh,
Yeah, right.
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and the glue drops. I
yeah,
love that. I love that practice.
Mhm. That
yeah.
makes
Yeah.
And anger is a transmutative power, right? Like it's if we just are like, huh, there's something rising here, right? So anger could be a hidden power or hidden potency. It can indicate there's been a boundary violation, and it can get us
Girl,
up off the freak.
Yeah, right.
It can
just
get us up off the freaking couch to do some
I
to do some
just
stuff.
thing like that happened, and I talked about it on the show on Tuesday that it got me hot. I was so
So
angry
hot.
to like take the earrings off. Like I was really, really mad. Like because someone had like gone past my boundaries, and it was somebody that his trust was just lost, and
Mhm.
and I got angry, but instead of getting angry, I really stopped and I was like, okay, Lee, your tool, use your tools. I'm tapping, right? And
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm trying to get this out. I'm like, it's not staying in my body. This thing's staying in it. So I started asking myself, what can I do with this? What can I do? Because you, right, like you said, anger can be a very transmutive and powerful potency. And I was like, well, cool, man. I'm going to show up in my business. Like, and I had a fire in my belly. And ever since then, I've been super motivated. Like, all these new downloads and questions and what you're saying right now. I'm like, Judith is looking at me. I'm like, it's like divine. Because
Yeah.
it's exactly
Like
what
what?
I experienced. And you couldn't be more of a match right now with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
I
love
I
that.
could have let it take me down. And there was a moment a little bit before that where I wanted to hide. I wanted to pull the covers over my head and just say, you know what, F it. But
Mhm.
this isn't the timeline for me to do that anymore. I'm
Which
gonna
makes me
choose
kind
to
of
do
want to open the door. Do you want,
Yeah,
would
that's
it
what I was
be
gonna
fun to
say.
facilitate
Yeah,
a few of the
that's what I was
callers
gonna say.
around
Sure.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Fun.
so, I mean, as you guys see, we can go anywhere. We can go
Mhm.
from, pain in the body to uncomfort zone to try to, bring your dreams into fruition. We can go how many places,
Fun.
right?
Let's
Do
do.
you want to maybe, do you even feel like you still need support around this one, this fire, this anger fire?
So good. Like I was telling you, I feel so good, but I mean, I'm willing to play. Um, it was it had everything to do with like a credit score and like you trust there, and for whatever oversight happened, it dropped my credit score 41 points, and that's something that like I really was I
Kind of counting on.
and I was pissed. I was blindsided. I didn't think that that could happen. And it changes my trajectory, right? A little bit of what I had planned. And I was like, you know what? I'm still gonna make it happen. Like everything's still gonna be great, but like I didn't, I had to ask myself a lot of questions. And I know you talked about asking questions. What are some of those questions that really help here?
A couple of questions come to mind. How is this for me?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because it's like there's this like I can't believe this is happening to me. There's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
happening
yeah, yeah,
that, right? And how
yeah,
is this happening for me? Or
yeah,
what's right about this?
yeah.
Because it's like if you really believe that you're creating with the universe, then
Mhm.
then your
Yes,
soul or spirit
yes.
has crafted these little bombs for a reason, right? And it's like looking at how is this for me? Partly looking at if this is a friendly universe,
Mhm.
how is this for me? And that's a question that I'm asking right now in the crazy political scheme of things is
Yeah,
how is this for us? How is this for us? And so in that, because if I'm fighting something,
yeah.
I'm creating separation. And then I can't actually receive the awareness or the consciousness that it is there to bring. When I
Mhm.
drop those barriers, I drop the fight and go, okay, I I must have placed this on my path for a reason because I live in a friendly universe. Me and the universe designed this beautifully, specifically for me. So how can I receive this? What is this for me? And so who knows, who knows what choices and things you might choose to outcreate that will actually set you up for
On my
something
path for a reason.
greater in the future.
I think for me, what it did was I think that I was still putting this value of security around something like a credit score, right?
Yep.
at the end of the day, what it really showed me was I'm still gonna still gonna
Great.
create income. I'm still gonna create, I'm still gonna be fine. I know how to do all these things. I don't have to have that be my security blanket. And I was always looking for this, right? Like the
Like if we needed a
security.
loan or something like
Right.
that, right?
No, I mean, I'm gonna be fine. I already outcreated that, right? But I wasn't willing to let myself not have a little secure, right? Like,
Little
Mhm.
security.
right? The way that I would tell myself about, oh, having that corporate job, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. And so what it really made me look at was, damn, girl, put it in overdrive. Let's have fun with it though. And
Yep.
let it come from a place of true flow. And
Mhm.
I was like, okay, well, cool. I got that. I got
I
that.
love that because at the end of the day, there's nothing, no one, no situation, no circumstance greater than you.
I
And
know.
so anytime we put power in the economy or we put power
Yeah.
in our credit score or power in what people say, like we are creating ourselves in a powerless state when we do that. And a lot of times we don't know we're giving something power until some shit like that comes up and go, "Oh wow, I was making that real important." You know?
Yeah. And
Mhm.
like, think about how 3D that really is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
when it's put in that perspective.
Uh, you
Mhm.
gave me that right now. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
'Cause we were talking about sucker punches on the last call. Like, if the rug was like, taken away from you, or, it's kind of like if a spouse would just suddenly come after 25 years and say I'd like a divorce, and it just blindsides you, like, and you are scrambling, right? That kind of sucker punch. And, how is that supporting us and creating something greater for us instead of it actually,
And the truth is,
destroying us?
mhm, mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
You know,
Well,
I
when you look at the universe at reciprocity, at loss and gain, they're different sides of the same spectrum. So we have to let go to actually receive sometimes. And sometimes we don't know there's something we need to let go of until it kind of comes in our world in a particular way,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
the thing, I mean, I think that loss and grief has been really big for me, because I was given away for adoption, and I had some early things in my years where like people just left, right? And
Mhm.
so loss has always been this thing that I've braced against, and I've come to a much more kinder frame around it, which is that, okay, this is like I'm being asked to let go of something because there's something greater coming. And that's universal law, is that loss always follows gain. And a closed door leads to another one opening. That's has always been, always. Like the very worst day of our lives becomes like the moment everything changed. Down the road, it's because we can't see that future gain yet because we're being asked to grieve and make room for it. So it's like it's not, when people like go through something, oh, it'll be fine. They're in a better place or whatever, right? That people say. It's like it's a little premature because and that's why it doesn't work because you do need to grieve. You do need to feel the feels of that moment
Yeah,
and let it go because that's what's making room for what's coming. That's what making room for what's coming in. And we can't always see that and know that in the moment. It's not about a spiritual override.
I got you.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. Joe was clapping his hands. I saw some hands go up and like, yeah.
right.
It's like you're definitely striking the nerves here.
Yeah.
One of the things that you mentioned in the call that we had was people could kind of try on these various kind of like Peter Pan moments. And
Hmm.
Do you want to
it,
bring it up
yeah.
and have her?
Well, I want
Oh,
her
go
to
ahead.
talk about
Go
this
ahead.
and then we'll bring
Go
it up.
ahead.
Okay. So I
So
wanted to kind of can you take this quest a little deeper for
oh,
us?
yeah. So, one of the things that I've done in the quest is I have every day, you have a bigger quest. Like, what is it you'd like to generate and create in a 30-day period? You get all in for it.
Okay.
It's the part of the quest is you have to depart. You have to depart from your old world. And that's that choice thing we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
And then I invite you to try on a question every day that will lead you to information and awareness. The word quest is in question, right? So every day
Yeah.
you got a mini quest. What's
Yeah.
my question for the universe? And so you learn how to create with the universe. And every other day you quest as an avatar. And the reason that I've done that is that if you do what you've always done, you get what you always got. And
Yeah.
we take action based on our thinking. So how do I get to different thinking? Like most people, they start the new year, they start a new project from the same thinking they've been in for however long. And so they actually can't really see things or see opportunities or see choices outside of the spectrum of their personality. I'm me and I'm this kind of person. And so like I won't even see like choices over here. So what I've done is I've created a cast of avatars so that you can like try on different ways of thinking, because if you think in new ways, you'll see different choices, you'll make different actions, you'll start to expand your container of what's possible for you. So, you know, if so, for instance, Leonka, if Peter Pan got a lower credit score, how would Peter Pan look at that? How would Peter Pan address that?
I'd probably like find he'd probably, like go do some magical stuff. Some
Yep.
and go get a whole bunch of people, go do some cool shit, and then all of a sudden it wouldn't even be a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Singing on a boat
Yes.
somewhere, which all sounds really fun. Like, sing on a boat with me.
Well,
Right? Like they would just even go fly around and make some magic happen. Ooh,
yes.
this
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Because here's the thing, the intelligence, the quantum field, right? You guys, you're big on the quantum activations and all of that. The quantum field, every molecule has consciousness and magic in it. And like we can tap that. But if I'm just being Megan with all of my history and all of my stuff and all of my not enoughs and everything, and something comes into my space like that, I might shut down. But if I'm Peter Pan, or if I try that on, I'm instantly connected to the magic. I'm instantly connected to consciousness instead of what I would call a spiritual override, which is like, okay, well, gosh, I know this is for me, so meh, meh. As opposed to, ooh, how would Peter Pan look at this? Because it's an instant access to consciousness and to the creative potential
Yeah.
of the universe.
Yeah, that worked. It really did.
Yeah.
I mean, thinking about how he would create and thinking about how I would create as Peter Pan, right? Like, and putting myself in the scenario definitely felt more expansive, right?
Mhm.
There was a bridge there. There was there was Lee that kind of dealt with, yes, I've got potency, but then there's Peter Pan, and that's like, ooh, right?
It's
So,
like what would you do if you're on Pandora?
right? So
Right?
how could you be so juicy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm. Yes. Yes. And so some of the avatars are very magical. Like
Yes.
we've got wizards and sages and, warriors and all the things, right? But there's also some sort of real life practical examples. Like, so I ran this program about 5 years ago. And the one I'm launching is Quest 2.0. I've added avatars, and there's so much more in this one than was the first, because I got to learn what worked and I'm able to tool it and make it better. But the billionaire was one of people's favorites, and I had a handful of people completely change what they were doing with money just by like thinking like a billionaire. Like, well, how would a billionaire look at it, at the credit score going down? So I'm going to give you a sort of a different example, Leonka, right?
Yeah, that's a good
How would the
example.
billionaire go? He go, oh well, crap, like
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll
Like,
go up. Yeah.
yeah, like nothing. That would be nothing, right?
Right.
How
Because they
funny.
don't worry about stuff like that. They just create. They
Yeah.
just keep
Just keep
creating.
going. Yeah.
Damn, that's good.
I worked with Roger
Damn,
Hamilton.
good.
I don't know if you know him, years ago, and he says, you know what? I've made over $12 million and I've lost over $11 million or something like that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Over a span of time. And I remember how, me just kind of holding on to every nickel and dime kind of when I was learning entrepreneurship, it made me go, huh, and the lesson was really about
Interesting.
risk, but it was also really about, wow, it's a very different mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, they think very differently.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I thought that was
That's
really
cool.
cool. And
Mhm.
and talking from the universe and a frequency level, one of the things that Lianka got to me last week was I was like, this is good, not good enough, right? I had that constantly running in me, like more, 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 more. This is good, not good enough.
And
And
normally
she
you
was
can just shake her off.
and normally she can just say like one sentence and I'm like, got it. But she had to talk me down. She's like, that's not helping this create what we want. And I was
Mm.
like, no, that is how I create. I have to get
Mhm.
like so hungry for something that I like really. And she's like, yeah, but if it's a frequency match, that would mean
Mhm.
that we'd really have to already be there.
Mhm.
And I finally got into,
You'd have to
I
be
got it.
that, the
Right.
billionaire mindset.
So it's
You'd
like,
be that. Yeah.
couldn't you see how these avatars
Yeah.
would really let
Damn,
you
this is gonna be fun.
would really
Mhm.
let you,
You see.
be a different frequency no matter what.
Mhm. And
Absolutely.
Love
it's
this.
This is
and
so
it's
great. This is
instant
a cool thing.
because a lot of people like they're doing all this like and I think sometimes belief work is important, but that takes time. It takes time to truly change a belief. And then because our brains are more receivers, I don't know that we ever like completely change the belief. But if I learn how to access higher frequencies, I learn to be a receiver for higher frequency. The beliefs just don't, those thoughts just kind of don't show up in the same way. And to
Yeah.
me, this is the ultimate hack because I go to a different frequency, a different space of consciousness. I do it in play so I can
Yeah.
embody that frequency. It's not like this, I think I can, I think I can. It's like, oh, well, what would Peter Pan do? And we kind of try it on and we feel into
Love
it.
it.
And
Love it. It's
instantly we're looking at life differently.
yeah. Well, and you got to think from the way that the brain works. When you use your imagination, you actually go into that alpha state.
Uh-huh.
Like that is exactly how we create.
Yeah.
And that's
Mhm.
exactly how we become the frequency. That's absolutely brilliant. I'm surprised I haven't heard this kind of creative game earlier.
Well, Tony Robbins talks about being able to get unstuck from different situations
Mhm,
by utilizing different aspects of ourselves,
mhm.
different
Mhm.
archetypes. And when you right, my archetype for a billionaire mindset is going to be different from the Lianka that I show up to hang out with you guys today, right?
Totally, right?
Mhm.
So I can see how and if you're asking me to be Lianka as the billionaire, I don't, there's a gap there a little bit, but when you're just like, okay, I'm fully stepping into this, and then I'm pulling those aspects of myself,
Uh-huh.
then I'm able to use all of my potency.
Yeah.
Right. And
Mhm.
if you really think like if you're really, really playing on the quantum field, then you know that there's multiple versions of ourselves. And so then that's the ability to access those different multiple versions of ourselves and to bring
Yeah.
that to be our biggest power. Ooh, girl, this is good.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
good.
Well,
All
I
right.
think a magician or a wizard,
Yeah.
the very definition is they can access all energies and use any energy at their disposal. We're not one thing. We are not one, we're not our personalities. So I think it's really important to try on different things that expand our consciousness to realize that we are all of it. We are living multidimensionally at the same time, and we can access parts of us that are better at shit than the part of us sitting here right now, you know? And one of the things that I see is people tend to bring their worst self forward in challenge. Like they tend to go, "Oh, I suck," right? It's like if you were a coach of a team, you would not put that person on the field when there's 2 minutes to go in a game. It's like we have to play our strengths. And that's the challenge is asking us to play our strengths. So in that moment, if I can't feel a strength, if I can access a different level of consciousness,
Hmm.
Yeah.
then I can actually play my strengths because that's me too. That's
Yes.
part of me too.
Yes.
Right. And so I put my best person on the field instead of the person that's sad sack, at the on the bench.
Mhm. Wow. It's funny because if something, if somebody had a strong point of view and I agreed or didn't agree, it didn't really matter, but they were hitting me with it really hard, I would often imagine that I was in another place or another land. I'd like go off to Tahiti, right? And I
Mhm.
feel like being that, being capable of being any frequency at any time has been the one thing that has helped me grow.
Cool.
The one thing, right? There's a few more
Yeah.
after that, but I think that's the biggest one, right?
Cool.
To just be like, I don't have to buy into your point of view
Mhm.
too, and and it's also about kind of just making that little bit of separation, imagining. If I'm like, okay, I'm going to Pandora, I mean, that might even be even more profound, right? I'm gonna go play in the water, whatever, right?
Frolic.
Be a dolphin.
Mhm.
So let me bring up this page, and there's so much depth here. I feel like we could talk for a couple hours,
Mhm.
but let's go ahead and go through, what all is involved in Quest
I think
2.0.
it's so cool.
It's yeah,
Mhm.
what all, like, how do they experience it? Should they go into this with like that one thing that they're struggling to change, that thing that they're trying to break through their comfort zone, right? And it might be something that they could continue to bring up every time that they're hitting a wall.
Mhm. Well, one of the things that I'm going to invite people to do is to take on a quest for the 30 days. And then
Mhm.
the individual quests or the individual days with the individual avatars are developing skills, capabilities. It's getting people to think in different ways so that as they're on the bigger journey, there's more of them playing that bigger game. And so, and because everything's going to be in a library, you could take a quest for, okay, I'm going to shift money in 30 days. I don't know how, I don't know where I'm going to do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you could take it again in 2 months and go, okay, my quest is to open my heart, and play it from that. And so I, I'm a bigger fan of looking at, and I tend to guide people this way, is look at what you really desire. Don't look so much about what you want to fix, i.e., what you're struggling with,
Okay.
because that's what I call that com, compensating creation. That
Okay.
doesn't work as well because I'm trying to fix something that actually isn't broken. I'm just looking at it in that way. I think when we can get to a pure space of desire,
Sure.
and we're like, ooh, but like, just what do you want? Ooh, well, I want that. And you go in that direction. It has a lot more energy rather than, I want to create this so I can fix this.
Mhm.
And so it just doesn't tend to work as well. And so I get people excited about something they want to create. I want to live in my heart. I want to learn how to generate money with my passion, right? Or whatever it is, something that you desire. And then you start the journey. And every day I've created a game card. And every day you call in your allies because every quest you have to have allies on a quest. Frodo couldn't be by himself, right? We have we have seen and unseen allies.
Okay.
Um, it's really important to understand we don't do it by ourselves, and we've got to call in that support,
True.
right?
Very. Yep. Yep.
And then on the every day through the quest, you're looking for what I call winks and wanks. So so a wink from the universe is like warmer, warmer, like
Fun.
synchronicity,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
coming in. And so you're going, okay, that's a wink. That's great. It says go further in that direction. A wank is when like wah wah, like something
Right.
happens.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
that's saying go in a different direction. So you start to learn to hear your guidance.
Mhm.
And then I have a whisper tracker, Jenith, you'll like this, where like you actually just track anytime you got a whisper, and all you're doing in that is you're checking if you followed it or not from judgment. because it's like you start to learn, oh, that was a whisper. Oh, I didn't look at that. Because to me, the biggest thing, especially now when things are changing every 5 seconds, we have to tap our intuition. It's the most important part of the quest. Because
Golly,
you have to know how to listen. You have to know how the universe is creating with you and talking with you.
Yeah.
And so, and then at the end of the night, you do a check-in, it's like, what am I proud of? What did I learn today? And then, we start over again the next day with your game card.
So this starts Saturday, February 22nd, 2025. And then
Yes.
when you set
222 portal.
I know, a 222.
Yay.
Do you, on that portal day, you step into your sailboat and you go off and you start sailing here? Do you meet on a Zoom call and you
Yes.
set them up to start sailing?
Cool.
Now, are
Yeah.
there multiple calls like that?
Yes,
And
there's
like
three.
how
There's 3 live calls, and there's
uh
a lot of pre-recorded content that they'll get in a drip system. So
okay.
we'll do a big launch party
Yeah.
live, and then every day they're going to get an email with that day's game card of who their
Wow.
avatar is and what their quest is that day.
Oh,
And then
Start
some days will come with a like a piece of content, like, look at this, you might want to think about that. And so there's 3 main parts of a quest. There's the call. I'm called. I depart from my known reality. So that's the launch party.
Okay.
And then one of the calls that we'll do live is really helping people learn how to extrapolate the greatness and the good from the challenges. I really help people go and do live facilitation to help them through and see what's happening in a different way. Because if you're going on a worthy quest, if you're actually risking big, you will pull up a lot of, I would say, challenges, because if I'm here and where I'm going is here, the difference between where I am and where I want to be is a frequency I'm living at. And there's unconscious stuff that has to be brought up to the surface for you to release it so you can come to these higher frequencies.
Yes.
And so that's what call 2 is all about. And then there's the final part of the journey or the quest is when I've gotten the elixir, I've gotten the ring. I've gotten my medicine and I'm bringing it back. I'm integrating it into my life. I'm bringing the medicine back into my life. And how do we integrate that? So that's the last call. That's the final call.
Very cool. And are those all on Saturdays?
You know what? I haven't scheduled that yet, but most likely.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
So there's 3 calls and then there's a daily adventure. Right now, Megan set up something super special for the group. So this isn't your price, and I did put the code in the chat. And I will also send it in the newsletter. If you're not signed up, you can sign up at houthustle.com. It'll also be in the YouTube caption.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this
So
gives you, I'm sorry, how much off?
150 off.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
it's just $150. It's a 30-day program, you
Yeah.
guys.
I haven't seen anyone do this. Anyone. It's so
It's
unique.
brilliant. It's
Yeah, it really
absolutely
is.
brilliant.
It sounds so fun,
Oh
and
my God.
and it
So
really does challenge you to step outside of who you show up as all the time.
Right.
yes.
Do it daily.
Yeah, so that you get in a habit of doing this on a regular basis.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is
And by
neat.
the way,
Yeah, this
your
is
group is the
brilliant.
only group getting that level of discount. That's specific to your group.
It's just
Also, if people that weren't on the summit, because I offered a free training and it was create like a ninja. So I was using the ninja avatar, and like we can get your people that too, the ones that didn't get it in the summit. And there's a quiz that I'm developing that I'm going to give you guys to send out as well that helps you see like where your strengths are right now, what kind of avatar you're actually really strong at, and what avatars need to kind of grow in your spectrum of like opening to creation.
Yeah. So you guys, you have until the 22nd to sign up. Do you have any bonus you can throw in there, Megan, if they sign up early?
Well, I actually was going to only leave that price point open for 48 hours
Okay.
because it's a really discounted price and nobody else is getting it out there.
Yes.
So that's kind of,
Well, let's
and I
keep
can,
it a little longer than that, just so that everyone can
Yeah,
get through the
because a lot of people
recording.
do listen to our replays. So the most majority of everybody that kind of comes to the show, it will definitely get from the replays, and they usually do those over the weekend.
Yeah.
So
okay, no
definitely.
problem. Yeah. So you guys, I'll leave it open for a week.
Okay.
And let's see. I'll come up with something. I
It
don't
is
have anything
so
right at the
creative
moment,
and
but I'll come
fun.
up.
She said creative with a K. It is. I've never seen anything like this. And
Mhm.
I love
Good.
stuff like this.
Mhm.
Oh, well, and that's, I mean, so you guys, Megan and I back in the day actually did a course called whisper mapping. That's why she keeps doing like the elbow, elbow,
Yeah.
nudge, nudge when she says the word whisper.
I love
And I
that.
think we both don't really know if that came from her or me, the actual name of that course, but we did that together. So,
Cool.
some of the language that you hear from me is exactly what you hear from Megan too, because we are kind of just like one brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we've worked a lot together. Just so you know a little of our past, we met in an access class like in 2013,
Okay.
and Megan hired me as a coach. And the more I coached her, I was like, well, who needs to be getting the coaching? And
That's
then
so cool.
and then we got into a deeper conversation. We collabed and we made a course together called Whisper Mapping. Heck, I could probably look to see if we still have the files for that.
Oh,
And we could
cool.
give that as the
A
bonus. I don't
bonus.
know if
If it's any good,
it's
but
kind
yeah,
of crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
Things are
quality is,
better, so much better now than they were back then
yeah.
on both
But
of our
if somebody
parts.
has, yeah. If
I
somebody has,
also I also thought of another bonus. It's a big one. So
Okay.
here if and you guys can determine the time frame because you know better how long we'll keep that open. But if you sign up with the timeline they give you,
Okay.
and you write out something that you desire and something that you're challenged by, you just email me with that. I will create you a personalized infusion to start activating the change that you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's something I'm known for. Like,
Yeah. Talk
yeah,
about
and
that's cool. Yeah.
those are cool. They're called molecular infusions, right?
yes,
Moly, that's
mhm,
so cool.
mhm, yeah.
Yeah. Tell them a little bit about that and what that does and how it folds out.
Yeah, I discovered a capacity, and it's something I've always done. But during my time at Access, and specifically in a conversation with Dane, when I was asking him about his SOP, he said, the position of Dane here is taken. Go find out what this is for you. And I went on this quest to go, what is this energy that comes out of me when I work with people? Why is it that people get such different results with me than other facilitators doing the exact same tools or processes? And
Yeah.
I realized that I have this capacity to literally talk to and move molecules. And so when I work with people, I'm literally talking to their molecules, even though I wasn't totally conscious of it. And when I started to become conscious, I asked questions. I I got feedback. I explored it for a couple of years, and I realized that I can turn it on, turn it up. There's my signature event, Live Your Magic, that I've taken to 4 countries and 20 cities. I facilitate the entire thing through that energy, and I just follow energy the entire time. And it's mad. It activates people. It actually activates other people's capacities. And
Ooh,
so when I do meditations or infusion or activations for people, that's the energy I'm using or coming from when I do it. Plus
Wow.
my experience in hypnosis, I know how to take people to really deep places in their consciousness.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So if you sign,
that's good.
yeah. So if you sign up before, shall we say, the 18th, then AN send Megan the question. Then you will also get not just $150 off, which makes this program around 150, but you also get her personal molecular infusion energy.
What
And
would you say that's valued at?
What would I say that that's valued at? Well,
That's
I'm
like that session.
when people coach like one-on-one with me, depending on the package, I'm between 500 and 700 an hour.
I can see
So
that.
if I'm doing like I'm taking 15 minutes to do something like that, I would probably value it at $200.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. So I mean, look, that right there, the discount that you got plus you getting this extra bonus
cool.
that already pays for itself, and then you get all of this juiciness that you get to do for an additional 30 days to work through it. So that's super fun too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Veronica, we are having 3 live calls in addition to the daily quests that will be drip
And they'll
drip
get the
from that.
recordings for that too.
The what?
They'll get the recordings for those live calls as well.
Just in case.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything is going to be in their library. Everything they'll have forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's what you said. You said that somebody could be
I'm so
like,
excited for this.
start a new quest. Like, right, they get done with the
Yeah.
30 days and they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna do a new quest.
Yeah.
And they can do that because it's in the library. That's even cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
got all kinds of
She has another question up there.
Veronica says, Megan, if we don't know what it is calling us, will this help open it up for us?
Good question.
That is a good question.
Yes, and that's a lot of the work I'll be doing on the welcome call is to
Mhm.
help people really, I'm going to go through a process to help them go beneath what I should be doing and what I think, we've got a lot of programming about what we think we should want. And so I do a special process to get people into the heart of creation and like, what is it like that you truly, truly desire? And so I'm going to help you. For a lot of people, they might not know their quest until that call. So
Wow.
Wow.
Megan, for someone that is like that, I don't want anyone to feel held back by not knowing what they want to work on and not email you to get the bonus. What would you say for them to put in that place? Maybe kind of like what they think they might be wanting to work on or
Yeah,
something
what
like
you
that.
think you want.
Yeah.
Like
And spell it out. Like, I think I should be on this path, but maybe this is something we could look at.
Yeah.
well, I think that like
I just don't want
if people really don't know, like
Stuck early.
Yeah, I could look.
Stuck before they can even do anything.
I'm like, I don't know what to email her.
well, I think that, in that case, if somebody really is confused about what they might want, like it's pretty simple. Like look at what you don't want. Like I said earlier, you don't want to create compensatory, but like sometimes if somebody's that disconnected from something that really matters to them, like look at what you don't want. Like, I just don't want to be depressed anymore. Cool. Then your quest is happiness, right? Or maybe your quest is to feel better, to have energy, right? Like if you can't get to that sort of place where it's like, oh, this is what I want. Like just starting with like, oh, like one of the best quests I took myself on about 25 years ago was I was like, okay, for 30 days, I'm going to prioritize feeling good for 30 days. I have to tell you, that changed my life almost more than anything I've ever done. Just to say every day, like, when your partner does the thing that you want to punch him in the nose for, it's like, okay, like, is it going to feel good to fight right now?
Right.
And what else can I choose? And oh man, and I didn't realize like how really committed I was to feeling like shit until I took that quest. And so it could be so simple. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I want to create a 6-figure business. It doesn't have to be that specific. In fact, I think sometimes doing something like, I'm going to feel good. I want to know what joy is. Like everybody wants a little more joy, aliveness, happiness. Like if you don't know what you want, something like that will give you huge leverage.
Yeah. I find that I try to pick too many things. Like, I want the joy, I want the happy, I want my brain to work faster. Sometimes like I want to look a little younger, be a little thinner,
And that's why I think something like feeling good or I want to increase my aliveness is really powerful because it affects all of that, Jen. It's one choice that you can make that will help you with create more money, feel more alive, feel younger, lose weight. Like that one has so much in it,
Yeah. Yeah. Dana just said it, they say it takes 30 days to make a change or change a habit. I think it's actually 21, but yeah, I mean 30.
Yeah.
Then you have 7 days to screw up. 7 days
so-
to not open the email and not go down the path.
Mhm. Yeah.
Somebody did right. They were like, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed." And
Yeah.
I think that that's because it's so unique.
Gosh,
I have
Mhm.
never seen like I
plus
run a lot of self-development kind of things, and this is really
yeah,
not self-development. It really is be the change that you would like to see.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's more a practice.
Yeah.
It's like a doing. It's not like, oh, I gotta watch another day and then maybe I'll do a couple things on my computer kind of thing.
It's like actually getting in the kitchen and cooking something up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But doing it in a fun way with party pals.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 Well,
There's a question about email where they should
Oh,
email me for the.
I did
Okay.
put in your Gmail if that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
and-
And also, if you sign up for the course, you'll get a welcome email and you could just reply to that.
okay.
And I might prefer that because then I'll know you signed up. You
Yeah,
know? So yeah.
Okay. Well, fair enough. So I'll write that up in the newsletter that after you sign up, you will get an email from Megan, reply with what they want to create in the next 30 days, and you will do a molecular infusion activation. Is that the only thing? They just need a couple sentences, right?
Yeah, like I want to, and they could say, I want help knowing what my quest should be.
Okay,
That
great.
could be a question in there, right?
Okay.
And then this is what I think gets in my way. This is the biggest challenge I'm facing
Okay,
right now.
that's a big thing. Yeah. And this
Mhm.
is what I think gets in my way. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, cool.
Very fun. I mean, it's kind of grounded. We were kind of grounded last session. We went from like talking orbs and UFOs and outer space to these really grounded,
I like it.
creative things the last few days. Yeah, it's been moving. Yeah.
Mm.
Wow, that was just such a good call,
It wa-
Megan.
Yes,
My
thank you.
gosh.
Thank you.
So fun.
Thank you guys so much. Thanks for having me on. And it's a more difficult thing to talk about because people have never seen anything. It's like I'm trying
Right.
to introduce something that they're like, what is that? I don't get, I can't really share it in kind of a traditional way because it's like it really is deep. And
Yeah.
where it takes you, what it changes in you is really, really dynamic. And as you know, this probably about me, Jen, is like I'm as woo as they get, but I'm also practical. Like I want that to mean something in my life. And so
Correct.
this program is designed, you will have some really amazing magical experiences, but it'll be grounded and embodied in a way that you can take into your life.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah. I think that's why
I like that,
I
yeah.
feel like I align so much
was
with
gonna say
you
the same.
because I'm exactly the same. It's almost like I don't want it to be significant too, right? Like I don't want, channeling and any psychic medium stuff that I do to be anything significant because really the only purpose of that is so that they will have information and create change in their life. And I just, I can't express that enough, how important it is. Like, this is all cool conversation, but how can we
Yes.
apply it and actually be the magic every single day?
Which and then changes other folks around you too.
Agree.
Like that's how we
Absolutely.
really ascend here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. How does it get any better than
Yeah.
How does it? I've loved being on today, you guys. Thank you
so much.
for
It was so
playing.
good.
It was
Mhm.
like
And
no accident either. Like you were coming on and you were saving me. Just kidding. But to be talking exactly how I was feeling it.
Oh, I know.
Golly, everything is just really divinely guided. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for your participation and questions and your presence. This was so fun. Thank you.
All right.
Dana says, awesome call. Joe says, awesome call. Yes, practical magic. Thank you, Jonathan Leonka. Amazing call. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Megan.
Megan, my
Yeah,
gosh, thank you.
awesome.
This has been one of my favorites of the year
I
so far.
know. Just such a different
Woohoo.
approach. We've got
Yeah.
a couple of announcements.
Yeah, let me
Wonderful.
unpin you, Megan, and we'll go ahead and just kind of
Okay.
go on.
And I'm going to have to go. So I'll see you
Great.
guys really soon.
Oh,
Mwah.
great. Bye.
See you on your quest.
Yes. All righty. Everyone, so this week we all sorry, this week is over. Next week we have on Tuesday, we have Emily Riddick.
Yep.
And she is all about tarot and astrology and numerology. She's also super well versed in
And
this.
all
like-
three and how they integrate. And I mean, she also does astro yoga. She's been
Yeah.
on the show once before, I think in last November.
It went by fast. And she also does an astro yoga forecast every week. Y'all know I like that. Bridging the physiological with the astral, right?
Very
Like
cool.
I haven't seen that before. And she authored a book called she's the author of Astro Yoga for the Aquarian Age. So I think we're gonna learn a lot of stuff. Like for me, I don't really get into like astrology the way I think that I could.
Right.
So I'm super curious. The other is Aurora Luna Star will be back on with us. She's an interstellar channel who was recently featured on the channel panel alongside with Bashar and Wendy Kennedy and Jim Charles. She is super fun. She talks about alchemy, alignment, and ascension. She really brings it every time she's been on.
She always does.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's I think she's really growing too.
I know.
She was sharing with me. I was on the phone with her yesterday and she's going to the Oscars to help somebody that does something that's kind of like a witchy kind of tincture thing.
Fun.
So we'll find out more about that after the Oscars, I guess.
In fact, the screensaver that's on my phone, she created that for like
you have one of those little activators.
Yes, I don't think I can show you because it's really pretty, but like I mean, she creates these and it's like the resonance of me, like in a form. I don't think I can see. Can you see that?
Yeah. You're like
like it's got a little scarab up there. It's got the codes, and she says to be with this. And so I was like, cool, I'll just make it my screensaver. And that it changes you. And I thought, oh my gosh, the things that she's really bringing through that she's working with her channels for is pretty remarkable. So it's going to be a really fun week. And then we pretty much planned out for the whole month.
Yeah.
And then also wanted to let you know that the Mystique Society, we have that open next Monday is the last day for that special.
For the special offer.
Yeah.
For the annual special offer. If you want that, or if any of you guys that are currently in the program want the discount, just let us know. We'll figure that out. But it's you do have to pay the first 6 months is $111, and the second 6 months would be a second $111. But it shows up after 6 months, so you're really only committing to $111.
Isn't that crazy? It's amazing.
It's half of what you guys currently pay. So
and really what we wanted to do is just create this really amazing safe space, like nurture, have all of the different, you'll have access to all of the different interviews that we've ever done. Most of the speaker special offers that are open, you get a discount.
If you get that, you get Rewire, and you also get my 4-part hypnosis thing that starts tomorrow.
Nice.
So if you want that, and if you just want the 4-part hypnosis, you can get that through just the Rewire immersion too.
Which is right. So you might as well do the whole, like you get the whole enchilada for the Mystique Society. Plus you get to be like, that's our inner, like our highest level, like, because we really want to create this community and we really, really want to be filled with like the people that really want to go there. And I think that, so this is like that time for real. This is gonna be cool.
Yeah.
I'm loving it so much.
Cher asked a question. I'm not sure what it means though. She's like, if not, like, if not what? We said so much. You don't have to do anything. Nothing changes. We've just
good. Yeah,
you're good. We just have to change when we meet. So we're meeting on Wednesdays now at 4 p.m. Pacific time.
And I did say for the first 10 people, now we've already kind of gone through that whole thing, but like if you're the first, I think probably a couple more slots. I'll open up a couple more to do, if you do sign up, let's say that you sign up over this weekend, I will gift you, they're worth $300. And what are they called? Akashic records.
They called, let me recall it.
Well, because I also do QHHT sessions. Now you can parlay that into a QHHT session,
but there would be a fee
longer. So maybe like you could pay the difference of like $200. But if you want the free the complimentary Akashic Records reading for an hour-long session. It's really like an hour, I say 45 minutes, but that will support you going in if you want to just choose it, but you have to choose it this weekend.
Okay, so that ends this weekend.
Yep.
I'll put that in the newsletter.
Yep.
Veronica, that's a good question. So it's 100% exactly different. Basically,
That's a good
we,
question.
yeah,
Like, how do you explain how Mystique Society is different than listening to the podcast?
right. And I
So there's group
just,
facilitation, there's trainings that you'll be invited to, and then
but it's mostly we will go, it's more like a mastermind
it
where
is. That's it right there.
everyone talks.
It's
You know,
our inner
there's no
mastermind.
listening. Everyone's talking. We just open up a topic. We'll talk about galactic channeling, help people open up their gifts. We'll talk about Akashic records, help people, really tap into them, open up their gifts. We talk about orbs. We talk about conspiracy theories sometimes, not often. And sometimes we do, it's not therapy though, but we do often facilitate if somebody's really stuck with something that they're going through. But we're really trying to focus more on awakening your innate gifts during it.
And what we found is that the people that you surround yourself with, it just happens that you will activate your gifts. So if Jeneth is more clairsentient, then my clairsentience will come more online because I am
Frequency.
yes, exactly, because I'm a
That's a good
frequency.
match.
And what happens is that like once we all leave and then we come back, we're like, oh my gosh, this is what happened to me. And I got this message, and I mean, we're just fundamentally changed. I'm changed from it because some of,
I'm always changed.
there's always
Every single one of them
Yeah.
I've changed from. Veronica, thanks for asking that question because I didn't really think that was a question.
yeah, it's our
Yeah.
mastermind.
Yeah,
really.
it's truly a mastermind.
They're like the
yeah.
Navy of consciousness.
It's a small group too. It's 10 or 15, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to be thrown in with like a bunch of people and feel like you're
It's totally safe space
Yeah.
too. It's no judgment. that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I do also have the monthly price up. So if you don't want to commit to the 6 months, you can just pay the 37.
All righty.
All
Well,
right. Well, thank you. And we will see you next Tuesday. And
cool.
well, since Mystique, that special offer ends on Monday.
Okay, they
Wait,
can do
yeah.
that Monday. That's it.
Let's do the Akashic
Yes.
record through the
Yep.
end of the day on
Yep.
Monday.
Yay.
sounds
And then
good.
we'll meet with them on Wednesday. Wednesday we'll have the evening course.
Yeah.
And that'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Thank you guys for your presence, and we're looking forward to playing next week.